My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 9 is out, and with this new episode we jump right into the fourth matchup of the saucy skirmish between Class 1A and Class 1B. It's Team Katsuki Bakugo versus Team Setsuna Tokage. This episode, like its predecessor, covers 3 chapters from the My Hero manga, following the events of Chapter 207, 208, and 209. And so, without further ado, let's jump right into My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 9, titled Early Bird. And as usual, don't forget to Detroit smash that like button and slide into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. This episode opens up with the students of Class 1A and 1B looking on as Team Bakugo and Team Setsuna prepare for their upcoming conflict. Vlad King, channeling his inner Monoma, begins to slate 1A, saying that the only match they won in this training exercise was the first match, and that was all thanks to the non-hero student, Shinzo. Screw Midoriya being All Might's secret love child, I think Monoma is Vlad's secret love child. Class 1A are obviously upset at Vlad's biased commentary, and they once again protest his position as commentator. But Aizawa defends his co-worker, telling his students if they were good enough, he wouldn't be able to say anything in the first place. Classic Aizawa, bros before the positive reinforcement of his teenage and easily impressionable students, aka the hoes. Monoma, delighting in this current roast of 1A, can't help but join in the commentary, and off to the side, All Might talks about how surprising it is that the two classes are so evenly matched with their vastly different school experiences. You know, on one side we have Class 1B's traditional hero training, and on the other we have Class 1A's oh my god, we're going to die, for the love of God, someone please help us, oh my god, training style. There's a bit of a difference. And with this, All Might, watching the fourth match begin, mentions how he is now eager to see Bakugou in action. The story then cuts to Bakugou yelling at his teammates. Some things never change. As Sato, Sero, and Jiro are trying to keep up with their hot-headed leader, Jiro mentions how it's great to see Bakugou at least attempting to cooperate and not just running off by himself like he normally would. But she also shows some doubt in her teammate as she thinks back to when Team Bakugo was preparing for this bout. Sero and Sato both thought the best plan of action would be to hold their position and let Jiro use her quirk to scout out their opponent's locations. But in hearing this plan like a good leader would, Bakugou called Sero and Sato his underlings and tells them they are idiots. Bakugou explains that instead of waiting for an opening, they have to make their own opening, as if they can get their opponents in their line of sight, then they can win. Bakugou also begins to say something else, but Jiro decides that's enough flashback for now, and the story cuts back to the present, where Bakugou, noticing some movement up ahead, tells Jiro to use her quirk. Miss Earphone Jack then proceeds to scout the surrounding area, but unfortunately she can't seem to pinpoint anyone's location, as when she plugs into the ground, she picks up noises of movement from every direction. It's then revealed that Setsuna Tokage, the other person of Class 1B to get in on recommendation and many anime fans' new best girl, is using her quirk Lizard-tailed Splitter to separate her body into multiple moving parts, and is using said parts to make noise in multiple locations, disorientating Jiro's quirk. Once Jiro realizes she's being duped, she warns Bakugou, who comes face to mouth, not in a weird way, please don't take that out of context, with the Lizard Queen. As Setsuna charges Bakugou with a barrage of her body parts, doing as any Bakugou fangirl would, throwing her body at Splosion Boy, Sero preemptively covers the surrounding area in tape, in an attempt to help his team defensively. This, however, turns out to be exactly what Team Setsuna hoped for, as Kojiro Bondo, aka Plamo the Glue Boy, shoots his glue goo, why did I say that, all over Sero's tape, turning his one-time safety net into a hostile spider web. And then Togaru Kamakiri, aka Jack Mantis, the bugman who can manifest blades from his body, chops up the surrounding glue piping and tape above Team Bakugo, causing it to fall towards and potentially trap our beloved heroes. Sato, realizing that it's finally his time to shine and that it should make up for him being robbed of a cool moment in the Hero Rising's movie, steps forward and attempts to catch the falling debris, sacrificing himself so his friends can continue fighting. But Bakugou says, fuck that, I'm the main character, and he rushes in, blasts away the falling debris, kicks Jiro out of danger, and knocks back Jack Mantis, all while still fighting off Setsuna's body part assault. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bakugou Show. After putting himself in harm's way to save Jiro, I can already hear the shippers screaming, Bakugou inspires his team by declaring that it doesn't matter if it's training or not. In every single fight he is in, he will come out as the undisputed victor. victor, which means that him and his team are going to win this fight 4-0 with 0 injuries, because that's how the strongest would win. We then quickly cut back to the class members spectating this fight, where we see Monoma break down, or maybe have an orgasm, I can't tell, after witnessing the utter perfection of Bakugou's character development. Back at the fight, Team Bakugo are all riled up and ready to go, and in seeing their opponents retreating, they charge towards their attackers, now filled with a newfound trust in Bakugo. During this new adrenaline-filled assault, Bakugo gets caught off guard by Yusetsu Awase, who welds Explosion Boy to a nearby post, temporarily restraining him. But this little victory is short-lived, as Sato, forgiving Bakugo for stealing his thunder, jumps in to the rescue, freeing him from his welded prison. After being released from this trap and being told to keep going by Sato, Bakugo does something very unexpected. He doesn't turn around and shout at Sato for telling him what to do or for helping him out. Instead, he just smirks and continues blasting forward. And it's here where it's revealed what Bakugo told his teammates in the preparations before this fight. Bakugo told his teammates that when they are in danger, he will come and save them. But in return, when he is in danger, they will need to come and save him. Accompanied with these words, we see Team Bakugo flawlessly working together, as Bakugo flies over Yosetsu's head, distracting him, allowing Sero and Jiro to come in to catch him by surprise and take him down. Now that's character development. I also want to point out that I really like the way that Team Bakugo initially didn't have faith in Bakugo's plan, and were hesitant to follow his orders. But after seeing him put himself in the line of fire and jumping in to save Jiro from Kamakiri, they started to believe in him. And as Uraraka points out in this episode, it's because of this faith Team Bakugo has in one another that they can work together so flawlessly. Because if one messes up, the others will always have their back. And with this newfound team dynamic, Team Bakugo puts Team Setsuna on the ropes, as Yosetsu gets captured by Sero and Jiro, Bondo gets captured by Bakugo and Sato, and Kamakiri also gets defeated by Bakugo, yeeting him into a wall with his super move, X Catapult, and he gets wrapped up by Sero. With the rest of her teammates down, Setsuna begins to panic, pointing out that her team's plan was to abuse the fact that Bakugo will primarily act on his own and the others would have to try and catch up. However, she wasn't prepared for her opponents to be so perfectly in sync. As Sero finishes capturing Kamakiri, he notices one of Setsuna's body parts floating by, and it's here where Sero, of all people, pulls out a really big brain play. Realizing that there must be some limit to Setsuna's quirk's abilities, Sero thinks about the toll it must take on her body to regenerate itself after she is split up into her maximum number of body parts. And then it occurs to him that instead of having her body parts take up time and energy to regenerate themselves, she instead probably has them return to her, saving her a bunch of time and effort. And so, Sero utilizes this knowledge by not only trapping any loose body parts in his tape, forcing Setsuna into having to spend time regenerating them back, but he also attaches one of Bakugo's sweat-filled grenades onto one of her floating body parts. And as the part flies back to her main body, the grenade explodes on contact. Seeing this explosion, Bakugo flies up to the Lizard Queen, and once they come face to face again, he defeats her with ease. And with this, match 4 ends just how Bakugo wanted. 4-0 to Team Bakugo, with not a single member of his team suffering any major injuries. It's also important to note that this was the shortest match so far, with it being wrapped up in less than 5 minutes in the My Hero world and just under a half an episode in our world. After this fight wraps up, the rest of the episode is primarily just everyone praising Team Bakugo and the preparations for the next match. All Might tells Bakugo that he is proud of him, to which Explosion Boy shrugs it off like the tsundere he is. Bakugo tells Midoriya that he is rocketing ahead in skill and that Midoriya better catch up. Midoriya responds to this sentiment by repeating the same words Endeavor told the world after his inauguration as the #1 hero. Just watch me. And with this, the episode ends, with Team Midoriya and Team Monoma preparing for the final fight in this arc, with all eyes on Shinzo, who has one last chance to prove himself worthy of the hero course. Overall, this episode was alright. It's great seeing Bakugo's character development in action, and seeing him work together with Jiro, Sero, and Sato was definitely the highlight of this episode. Unfortunately, however, this highlight didn't really last too long, as the entire fight was less than half an episode. Now I know that's the point of this fight. I mean, it's even mentioned how the match finished in less than 5 minutes. But after coming out of the amazing episode that was last week's, I can't help but feel a little let down. The best parts of this arc and the main attracting point is the fights, and as last week's episode showed, when they are done good, they are done good. But here we have a fight that starts off a bit slow, builds up momentum, and then just ends. And then the rest of the episode is basically just preparing for the next fight. But I will say Bakugo's interaction with Deku and All Might are nice to see, and feeling a bit of tension build up for Shinzo Midoriya's rematch is also pretty cool. But overall, I'd probably give this episode a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. It's got some nice moments, but it's far from the best episode in this season. And remember, this is coming from a massive Bakugo fanboy. But let me know what you thought of this episode. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like. For more My Hero content, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.